Welcome back to Labels Don't Define Us, the podcast where we share stories of hope, growth, and the power of living beyond a diagnosis. I'm your host, Sarah, and today's episode is one that's especially close to my heart. We're talking about borderline personality disorder, or BPD, one of the most misunderstood mental health conditions out there. Our episode today is called Borderline Personality Disorder Beyond the Stereotypes. We're going to break down some of the myths, share real stories of people who are thriving with BPD, and talk about why compassion from both others and ourselves is the most powerful tool for healing. Let's start with a truth. Borderline personality disorder is one of the most stigmatized diagnoses in mental health. BPD affects an estimated 1.6% of adults worldwide, though experts believe the real number could be closer to 5%. And yet, it's often misunderstood, both by the public and, sadly, even by professionals. People with BPD are frequently labeled as difficult, unstable, or too emotional. But that's not the full story. What's really happening is that people with BPD feel emotions more intensely and more deeply than most. They often have a heightened sensitivity to rejection, a deep fear of abandonment, and intense relationships, not because they want chaos, but because they care so much. It's not manipulation, it's pain, it's fear of losing love. It's trying desperately to keep connections that feel like lifelines. Let's bust a few myths together. Myth 1. People with BPD can't have healthy relationships. Reality? They absolutely can, with the right support, self-awareness, and therapy. Many people with BPD build loving, long-term relationships and families. The key is communication and emotional understanding. Myth 2. People with BPD can't be treated. That's outdated. Dialectical Behavior Therapy, or DBT, developed by Dr. Marsha Linehan, who herself lived with BPD, has changed lives around the world. Studies show that DBT can reduce self-harm behaviors, emotional outbursts, and suicidal thoughts by up to 75%. Myth 3. People with BPD just want attention. Reality? What they want is connection. They often feel emotions so strongly that they struggle to regulate them, and expressing pain can come out in ways that are misunderstood. Now we're going to talk about the emotional experience of BPD. One of the hardest parts of living with BPD is emotional intensity. It's like having the volume of your feelings turned all the way up. A small argument can feel like abandonment. A neutral text message can feel like rejection. A new friendship can feel like falling in love overnight. And because emotions swing so fast and so hard, many people with BPD describe feeling like they're too much for others and even for themselves. But behind that intensity is something incredibly beautiful, a heart that feels everything. Deep empathy, creativity, and sensitivity, these are also part of BPD. Many artists, writers, and healers live with BPD, and their emotional depth gives them extraordinary insight into the human condition. Stories of growth and recovery. Let's talk about what healing looks like. One story that always inspires me is from Emma, a 32-year-old teacher diagnosed with BPD at 24. For years, she felt like her emotions ruled her life. She'd go from love to anger in minutes, and relationships felt like roller coasters. Then, through therapy, especially DBT, she began to learn emotional regulation skills. She learned to pause before reacting, to check her assumptions, and to ride emotional waves without drowning in them. Emma said something beautiful. For years, I thought I was broken. But now I know I'm just wired differently. My emotions aren't my enemy anymore. They're my compass. Today, she helps students with mental health challenges find their own balance. And then there's David and Hannah, a married couple who both faced challenges when David was diagnosed with BPD. In the early years, their relationship was intense, full of love, but also full of conflict. Hannah often felt unsure how to respond when David would pull away or panic about being left. Through couples therapy, they learned that understanding triggers and using safe language could transform their communication. David learned to express fear as vulnerability, not anger. Hannah learned to listen without taking every emotion personally. Over time, they built trust. Now, when David feels overwhelmed, instead of arguing, he says, "I'm scared of losing you right now." And Hannah responds, "I'm still here. We're okay." That shift changed everything. Hannah once told Sarah in an interview, "BPD doesn't destroy relationships. Silence does." Once we started talking openly, everything softened. Here are some important facts about borderline personality disorder and recovery. Around 85% of people diagnosed with BPD experience significant symptom reduction by middle age, showing that healing is absolutely possible. DBT, Dialectical Behavior Therapy, remains the gold standard, but other approaches like schema therapy and mentalization-based therapy, MBT, also shows strong results. Emotional regulation skills, mindfulness, distress tolerance, and interpersonal effectiveness can literally rewire neural pathways over time. People with BPD often have remarkable resilience. Once they learn tools to manage their emotions, many go on to help others with empathy and insight. Why compassion is key. So much of healing from BPD and from the stigma around it comes down to compassion. For those living with BPD, self-compassion means learning that your emotions aren't wrong, they're signals. They're trying to protect you, even if they sometimes overreact. And for friends, partners, or family members, compassion means seeing the person, not the diagnosis. Understanding that behind the anger is fear, behind the withdrawal is shame, behind the intensity is a longing to be loved and accepted. When we replace judgment with empathy, healing becomes possible. If you're listening today and you've been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder or love someone who has, please know this: you are not broken. You are not impossible. You are not your diagnosis. You are capable of love, healing, stability, and peace. BPD is not a life sentence. It's a journey, and with the right tools, support, and kindness, that journey can lead to a life filled with balance and connection. Thank you so much for joining me today on Labels Don't Define Us. If this episode touched your heart, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. You never know who could find comfort in these words. Remember, no matter your diagnosis, your emotions, or your past, you are more than your label. Thank you for listening to the Labels Don't Define Us podcast. Take care of your heart, stay kind to yourself, and I'll see you in the next episode.